Nothing truly belongs to us, the shattering of the ownership illusion. From a very young age, we begin to learn how to say, "This is mine," a pen, a toy, a close friend. As we grow older, the list of things that supposedly belong to us grows longer: our house, our job, our car, the money in our bank account, our degrees, our lover, our life partner, even the past, our memories, and the image of me in the minds of others. We don't just try to possess external things, we also try to possess ourselves. We believe things like, "I am this kind of person. I used to be like that. I should be like this," or "I cannot be like that." But have you ever asked yourself, among all the things you try to hold on to, is there anything that truly belongs to you? The body is the first thing we tend to believe is ours. It is where we begin to attach the label of ownership, saying, "I am tall. I am thin. I am healthy. I am weak." But look more closely. Did you choose your height? Did you decide the shape of your eyes, the color of your skin, the structure of your bones, or the process by which you age? You may care for your body, but you cannot fully control it. It will still get sick. It will still grow old. And it will still die, in its own way, without needing your permission. If something changes against your will and cannot be kept in the end, can you truly say it belongs to you? Next comes the mind, which seems even closer to us, yet is equally beyond our grasp. Every day, you think, feel, remember, and imagine. But try sitting still for a few minutes and observing. Can you actually control the flow of thoughts in your head? Thoughts come and go like the wind. You cannot command your mind to think only positive things, to avoid sadness, or to prevent worry. And when an emotion suddenly arises, anger, jealousy, sorrow, does it wait for your approval before appearing? If you cannot even control your own mind, then who is really in control? It is precisely because we believe everything belongs to us that we become anxious when things begin to slip away. We fear losing our loved ones, our status, and the self-image we have worked so hard to build. But the truth is, everything will leave eventually. Material things decay. People part ways. Emotions shift. The body weakens. Memories fade. Even your name and reputation, at some point, will be erased by time. And this is what the Buddha saw so clearly: nothing truly belongs to us. Not even the idea of the self we think we are. Realizing that nothing belongs to us does not make us cold or indifferent. On the contrary, it is the first step toward living with more freedom, loving with more depth, and moving through life with more lightness. When we stop clinging to everything, we begin to learn how to truly live. We love others without the need to possess them. We work wholeheartedly without being attached to outcomes. We live in this body without over-identifying with it. We observe the mind without being carried away by it. It is like being a guest at an inn. Every experience comes, stays for a while, and goes. We cannot keep anything forever, but we can be fully present while it is here. We don't truly lose anything, because nothing ever belonged to us in the first place. Once we see that, we no longer suffer from loss, nor do we fear change. Nothing truly belongs to you. And in that very truth lies the greatest gift of liberation. The nature of life is impermanence. Nothing lasts forever. And that is natural. If there is one thing that all of us experience yet few truly accept, it is change. Everything in life, from emotions to people, from success to failure, from health to aging, is constantly changing, moment by moment. But instead of embracing that as an essential part of life, we often resist it, try to hold things in place, and quietly wish, if only everything could stay just the way it is. We want things to remain still. But life never stands still. Think back to a time when you felt truly happy. Maybe it was when you achieved something important, when you were in love, or perhaps just a quiet, peaceful afternoon. In those moments, the only thing you wished for was, "I hope this never ends." But then, everything changes. The person you once loved is no longer the same. The dream job begins to feel dull. The bright joy you once felt fades with the passing years. Nothing stays the same. And if you look closely, you'll realize that even you are no longer the same person you were yesterday. Your body changes day by day. Your mind, your thoughts, and even the things you once believed in have all shifted. So what, then, is truly permanent? What can be held on to forever? The Buddha's answer was simple and clear: nothing. All conditioned things are impermanent. Impermanence is not a tragedy, it is the very nature of life. We often hear the word impermanence and associate it with something sad or undesirable. But in reality, change is what allows life to move, evolve, and renew itself. Without impermanence, a moment of anger would last forever. A broken heart would never heal. Cold winters would never make way for spring. Impermanence is the reason painful things pass, and also the reason beautiful things don't stay. There is nothing wrong with that. Only our minds, which want to keep what feels pleasant and avoid what feels unpleasant, struggle to accept this truth. Impermanence teaches us the deep wisdom of letting go. When you truly understand that everything will change, you no longer cling so tightly to anything. You begin to appreciate what you have while it's still here, but without holding on in desperation. It's like looking at a beautiful flower. You know it will wilt soon, but that makes you admire it more, smell its fragrance more deeply, and cherish the moment more fully, instead of taking it for granted or pretending it will last forever. Knowing that everything will change, you no longer suffer because of loss. Instead, you feel grateful that you were able to experience it at all. Observing impermanence is a powerful way to live more mindfully every day. You don't need to be a monk or a meditation master to see it. Just begin with the smallest things. Breathe in, and then breathe out. The breath never stands still. Look in the mirror. Your face is not the same as it was 5 years ago. Notice your emotions. Yesterday you were sad. Today you feel at peace. Watch the rain, the sunlight, the falling leaves. Everything around you is a gentle reminder that life is a flowing river, not a frozen lake. The Buddha never told us to fight impermanence. He simply invited us to look directly at it, to accept it, and to live in harmony with it. Because the moment you stop trying to make everything stay the same, you begin to live in alignment with the true rhythm of life, wholeheartedly, softly, and freely. We do not need to fear change. We only need to learn how to walk with it, with each breath, with each step. Clinging is the root of suffering, because we refuse to let go. When we understand that life is impermanent, that nothing lasts forever, we should naturally learn how to let go. Yet most of us do the opposite. We hold on even tighter, as if by tightening our grip, by exerting more control, we could somehow make things stay with us just a little longer. But that's precisely when suffering begins. We don't just suffer because things change. We suffer because we don't want them to change. We don't want our loved ones to leave. We don't want beautiful feelings to fade. We don't want to grow old, fail, or lose anything. We are afraid. And because we fear, we cling. The clinging mind is like a hand gripping too tightly. The harder we hold, the more pain we feel. Imagine picking up a handful of sand from the beach. If you keep your hand relaxed, the sand stays in your palm. But if you squeeze your fist tightly out of fear of losing it, the grains slip through your fingers. It's not the sand's fault. It's the way you hold it. Our minds are the same. We cling to loved ones, to possessions, to success, and to a beautiful image of ourselves. We tell ourselves, if I have this, if I keep that, then I'll be happy. But life is always changing, and when what we cling to starts slipping away, we panic, we ache, we feel lost. The pain doesn't come from the loss, it comes from not being able to let go. Even love can become a chain when clung to. Think of love, something so beautiful that everyone longs for. But when love is mixed with clinging, it turns into control. We love someone, and then we fear losing them. From love, we move into demands, jealousy, attachments, and expectations. We don't realize that love mixed with possession is no longer love, it's fear dressed as love. The other person feels suffocated, While we feel anxious, love becomes distorted. It no longer nourishes us but drains us, and then we blame love itself, saying, "Love hurt me." But the truth is, clinging was the cause, not love. We even cling to ourselves. We hold on to an image of who we think we are. I'm strong. I'm not allowed to be weak. I must succeed. I'm someone who deserves love. But when life challenges that identity with failure, heartbreak, or loneliness, we can't accept it, because it clashes with the me we've been trying to preserve. By clinging to a fixed self-image, we resist growth. We fear change. We fear losing the familiar me, even if that self is just an illusion. The Buddha taught that suffering arises from craving, from the desire to possess, to hold, to cling. Over 2.500 years ago, he saw clearly that attachment is the root of suffering. He didn't teach us to abandon the world. He taught us to live without clinging, to love without trying to own, to have without depending, to experience without identifying. Like someone sitting beside a river, watching the water flow. There is no need to hold the water. No need to resist the current. Just be present. Observe clearly, and soften your grip. Letting go is not abandonment, it is liberation. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you no longer place your peace in things you cannot control. It means loving someone enough to let them be free. It means living with awareness that everything is temporary. And because of that, every moment becomes precious, not something to possess, but something to honor. When the mind stops clinging, life still unfolds, but suffering no longer eats away at us. Joy becomes deeper because it is no longer clouded by the fear of loss. So don't ask, "How do I hold on?" Instead, ask, "How can I let go?" Gently. This life is like the wind. You cannot trap it in your hand, but you can stretch out your arms. Take a deep breath, and smile as it passes by. Freedom does not come from possession. It comes from the ability to let go with awareness. And when you let go, you'll realize you've lost nothing, only the suffering you once carried. Letting go is the key to happiness. Open your hands, and you'll find you were holding the whole sky. We often believe that happiness comes from achieving and keeping things, from having the one we love, holding on to success, maintaining a beautiful image of ourselves. Our lives revolve around two verbs, to grasp and to protect. And every time something slips out of our hands, a loved one, money, health, fame, we feel our hearts tighten. Deep down, we believe, if we don't hold on, we'll suffer. If we let go, we'll lose everything. But what Buddhism reveals, quite surprisingly, is that it is precisely when you let go that you begin to discover true peace. Letting go is not giving up, it is changing the way you walk through life. One of the biggest misconceptions about letting go is that it means becoming cold, indifferent, or retreating from the world. But the truth is quite the opposite. Letting go doesn't mean you stop loving, stop working, or stop dreaming. It means you love without trying to possess. You give your best without depending on the result. You dream without demanding that everything must go your way. It is a transformation, from control to trust, from clinging to openness, from heaviness to lightness. Imagine climbing a mountain while carrying a heavy backpack. Inside are stones, each one representing something you're trying to hold on to, a past relationship, a former achievement, a fear of loss, an identity you're afraid to release. At first, you can still walk, but the higher you climb, the more tired you become. Not because the path is too steep, but because you're carrying too much that you no longer need. Letting go is that moment when you open the backpack, gently remove the stones, and place them down, not because they weren't important, but because you realize that carrying them forever won't make you any happier. Let go, so love has space to blossom. In relationships, when you hold too tightly, try to control, demand, and cling, love turns into pressure. The person you love no longer feels free, and you live in constant anxiety. But if you loosen your grip, not on the person, but on the fear of losing them, love becomes spacious. It breathes, it grows. True love is wanting the other person to be happy, even if that happiness doesn't include you. That is a love full of freedom and strength. Happiness doesn't lie in holding tight, but in the ability to receive and release. Emotions are the same. Sometimes we feel sad, angry, or worried. Instead of letting them pass, we hold on to them through reaction, resistance, or rumination. But if you simply breathe, observe, and say, "This emotion is not me, it will pass," then you are letting go. And in that very moment, peace arrives. Success, fame, status, these are like clouds. You can enjoy them, strive for them, but don't anchor your happiness to them, because when the clouds pass, the sky remains. And you, if you know how to let go, will remain whole. Letting go doesn't have to be grand. It is practiced in the little moments of life. When you drop something you cherish, smile and whisper, "It was never mine to keep." When a relationship shifts, give thanks and say, "I was loved, and I loved." When a wave of emotion rises, breathe and say, "It came, and it will go." When you lose something, remind yourself, "What doesn't stay was never mine." This is how we learn to let go, not through theory, but through mindful living. Letting go doesn't make you empty. It makes you whole. You don't lose anyone. You find yourself. You don't withdraw from life. You live it more deeply than ever before. Letting go is the key to happiness, because happiness does not come from controlling life, but from trusting that, in every breath, every step, in all that comes and goes, you are already enough. Freedom comes from understanding and practice. Every step of letting go leads toward peace. There is a simple yet profound truth. Understanding that nothing truly belongs to us is the beginning of wisdom. But understanding alone is not enough. You can read hundreds of books, listen to countless talks, memorize the Buddha's teachings, but if you don't practice, if you don't live with that insight, you will still be pulled by suffering. It's like knowing fire burns but still putting your hand into it, you'll still get burned. Freedom does not come from intellectual knowledge alone. It blossoms only when insight is combined with action and with consistent daily practice. The truth doesn't need to be complicated. It just needs to be seen clearly. What the Buddha pointed out is not mysterious or distant. Everything is impermanent. Nothing belongs to us. Clinging causes suffering. Letting go brings peace. These truths, we have all glimpsed them at some point in our lives, but we often ignore them because the mind refuses to pause. We get swept up in the cycle of habit, possession, fear of loss, attachment, pain. Only when we truly stop, turn inward, and observe ourselves, do we begin to see that pattern, and from there, we can start to untie each knot. Practicing letting go doesn't require anything lofty, just sincerity. No one lets go of everything all at once. And no one needs to renounce the world to find peace. What we need are small, steady steps. One simple yet profound practice from Buddhist teachings is to silently repeat the phrase, "This does not belong to me." When you pick up your phone, say softly, "This does not belong to me." When you look at someone you love, say quietly in your heart, "This person does not belong to me." When joy or anger arises, acknowledge it and say, "This feeling does not belong to me." When you think of success or failure, remind yourself, "That, too, does not belong to me." Not to deny life, but to gently loosen the grip of the mind. Each repetition removes one layer of clinging. Each gentle release is a step toward freedom. Letting go doesn't turn you into someone cold. It turns you into someone who loves with an open heart. You don't need to abandon the world to find peace. You only need to stop identifying yourself with it. When you no longer see people as mine, you love them for who they are, not because they fulfill your needs. When you no longer view success as your identity, you can work wholeheartedly without fearing that failure takes away your worth. Freedom comes when you realize, you don't need to own anything to be complete. Inner freedom, no one can take it away from you. The world may change. You may lose possessions, loved ones, health, reputation, but there is something no one can steal. If you truly possess it, your inner freedom. When you understand, nothing belongs to me, then every loss becomes a transformation, not an end. When you live this truth in each word, each action, each thought, every day becomes a little less painful and a little more peaceful. And then, without needing to go anywhere, you can be at peace, right in the middle of life. Nothing ever truly belonged to you, and that is a beautiful thing. This body is only borrowed. These feelings are just passing guests, loved ones, wealth, status, all are brief visitors. But when you know this, you begin to live differently, with more reverence, more ease, and more freedom. Letting go doesn't make you lose anything. It allows you to become a natural part of the eternal flow, and in that flow, you no longer need to hold on to anything, because you have become life itself.